Hey everybody, Miguel the Movie Encyclopedia here. Today I'm going to give my thoughts on one of the most anticipated horror movies of 2019, It Chapter 2, directed by Andy Muschietti. Before we start the video, I just want to say that towards the end of the video, I'm going to be doing a spoiler version. I'm going to be doing a spoiler review of this movie. You can watch the video for the next couple of minutes, but towards the end, I'm going to give a warning, and from there, I'm going to be giving spoilers. But let's get to the non-spoiler part of the movie. I was really excited for this movie coming in because of my love of the book by Stephen King, and I liked the first movie that came out in 2017. But then a lot of early reviews came out very, very mixed, so I was scared for this movie. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I loved this movie. I absolutely loved It Chapter 2. This movie fixed a lot of the problems that I had with the first movie. This film stayed more true to the original source material by Stephen King while fixing some of the problems with the second half of the book. It Chapter 2 has enough horror and heart to appease both fans of the book and the first movie, so this is definitely a must-see. A quick plot synopsis: the movie follows the Losers Club, the kids from the first It movie, 27 years later. They are now adults in their mid to late 30s, and they've been called back by their friend Mike Hanlon, who's informed them that Pennywise has returned to Derry and is going on another killing spree. Since they're the first people to ever get close to killing Pennywise, they're the only people now who can stop him once and for all. The movie has a great story, just like the book. The story is absolutely fantastic. It's scary, it's action-packed, it's visually stunning, but it also has so much heart. This is one of the most heartwarming horror films I have ever seen, and it really shows that this movie takes care to not only stay accurate to the original book, but also keep a lot of the essence of the heart that made it such a great novel when it came out so many years ago. I want to first talk about the performances. This movie casted a perfect cast of actors for the film. I mean, this movie had great performances throughout. All the actors were really, really good. Even some actors I was worried about, like the guy who played Ben Hanscom, he looked kind of weird to me, like a little too young to be playing this role, but he was great. And I was worried about James McAvoy's Bill Denborough, but they were really good. Everybody. But I have to give a special shout out, round of applause for the two all-stars of this movie, which are Bill Hader and James Ransone as Richie Tozier and Eddie Kaspbrak, respectfully. These two were the heart and soul of this movie. They provided the best jokes of the film, which I was very surprised by. This movie had a lot of really good jokes throughout. It's not a comedy per se, like Ready or Not, but it's definitely like has some really great gut-busting jokes throughout the film. And Bill Hader, my God, I mean, holy crap, this is one of the best roles he's ever done. He brings both the comedy but also the drama to Richie Tozier and to the movie itself. He has great chemistry with James Ransone's Eddie, and those two together and apart bring the best moments of the film, the absolute best moments of the film. Now let's talk about the horror and the visual effects of this movie, because that's a big reason why it is such a popular movie franchise. The CGI and the visual horror of this film is absolutely spectacular. This is probably the biggest budget horror film I have ever seen. I mean, the CGI is breathtaking. The visual effects are so great. I love that the animators aren't really going for realism. They're going for a stylized look for the film because they know that they can't make these monsters and these creatures and these scares that Pennywise is creating by making them realistic. They have to make them look like movie monsters because that's the kind of thoughts, the memories that Pennywise is pulling from. And I really liked how stylized everything looked and how it reminded me a lot of like 1980s horror movies, like the style of the CGI. I really enjoyed that. I hope this gets a Best Visual Effects nom at the Oscars. As I mentioned before, the story is so great. This movie kept a lot more story elements from the book compared to the first film, which is one of the things I did like about the first film. But the things that the writers did change from the original film, which I have to admit for the second one, there are quite a few things they changed. The things that they did change were honestly for the better. Like, I felt like, personally, the ending of the book, the ending of the movie was so much better than the ending of the book. So this is the part of the trail of the review where I'm gonna go into the spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, click away now and come back when you watch the movie. I absolutely adore the ending of this movie compared to the book because the book ending kind of sucks. It basically, after they beat it, after they kill it, they all just go their separate ways. You never really get the feeling that they're ever going to see or speak to each other ever again. And they go off into their own separate epilogue stories. And we mainly focus on this story about Bill trying to bring back his comatose wife who was attacked and traumatized by it. And it was just such a crappy ending that really took away from the message of the book. This movie, on the other hand, keeps the message of the book and the movie, first two movies, very much alive. I love that the movie ends with all the losers, both the young and the old, reading Stan's suicide letter about why he killed himself, about how he wanted to bring them all together so they could beat it as a united force. And that scene was just so beautiful. It's one of the most heartwarming moments I have had all year in any movie and TV show. The ending of It Chapter 2 was one of the most heartwarming moments. It just cements that these people, despite all the trauma they've been through, despite all the hell they went through in Derry, they're always going to be in each other's lives. They're always going to have a bond. And they're always going to remember what happened to them in Derry. Because despite all the bullshit, Pennywise brought the losers together as a family. And that's a bond that's never going to end. And I really love that sentiment from Andy Muschietti. I don't understand why people are hating on the ending so much. It was so heartwarming, so sweet, I almost cried. A few other things I like that they changed, like, I really like that they got rid of the entire Tom Rogan plot of the book, because that plot always felt so useless to me in the book, especially since we never find out what happens to Tom Rogan at the end. As much as I like the Audra part of the book, I'm kind of glad that she was not in this because it would have led to the ending that I didn't like from the book. So I was fine that Audra wasn't in this story at all, with the exception of the first couple of minutes. Another thing that I really liked that the writers changed in this movie was how they built up the Beverly Ben romance. I mean, they spent 0 seconds in the book building up Ben and Beverly's romance, but at the end of the book, they ended up running away together, even though they spent no time together in the book as adults. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous and stupid. But in the movie, they build up their romance and their romantic tension throughout the adult portion of the movie, to the point where when they ended up together, I was happy. I was very, very happy, and I wasn't surprised. And it didn't come out of, like, left field. The movie did a significantly better job building up the Ben-Beverly romance as adults. But the ending is hands down the best part because it really connects the first movie and the second movie together, the young adult and the adult losers together, in a way that you know that they're going to be together in their hearts, but also in their lives forever. Also, Pennywise is just an unbelievably great villain as he was in the first movie. I mean, he does a really good job screwing with their darkest secrets and their darkest fears instead of screwing them with monsters that only kids would be afraid of. I love that he really, like, matures in the way he scares them by dealing with stuff that adults will be afraid of instead of things that kids would be afraid of. And Bill Skarsgård, I mean, he's always been spectacular. Spectacular performance. Always given a spectacular performance as Pennywise. So in conclusion, It Chapter 2 really exceeded my expectations and honestly was a lot better than the first movie. The first movie had some major problems, especially in how it tackled the source material. This movie, on the other hand, stays really true to the original book, despite a couple of pretty significant changes, it's a really good movie with a great cast of actors and a really heartwarming tone. I'm going to give It Chapter 2 an 8 out of 10 stars. Thank you all for watching. If you liked my review, click on the subscribe button. What did you think of It Chapter 2? Did you think it stayed more true to the book than the first It movie, or did you think the first It movie was more accurate to the book? Leave your comments below on your thoughts on my review and that question. Until my next review, see you next time.